Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you a new storage solution that I came up with for tiny towns. If you watched any of my gameplay videos for tiny towns, you saw me using some store-bought plastic containers that were pretty good, but I had a couple of small issues with them, primarily that they were a little bit too big for the box. And so I've been wanting to make a different solution for it, and I want to show you what I came up with and teach you how to do it. So I still need to make the blue box, but essentially what I've done is I've made a box for each of the building types. And so, for example, here, because of how I printed, I couldn't do this on black paper, obviously. But basically, each building has its own box that just fits perfectly in this space here. And then it opens up, and I've tried to design the lid in a way that, here, I'll show you. I designed the lid in a way that as you're putting these out on the table, you can set the card that matches that building on top of the lid so that it's easier to see by everyone no matter where they're sitting at the table. It'll be level with the top of the box. Something I was noticing when I've been playing this game is with my other boxes, if the cards are down here, people on this side of the table have a harder time seeing the card. And so this way, the card can just sit right on top. You can line them all up together, and everything's really easily accessible on the table. So if you're interested in seeing how to make these boxes, I'm going to talk my way through that now. I'll point out a couple of things really quickly before I clean up the game. First thing is I have two smaller boxes. This one is going to hold the monuments because that doesn't stay on the board at all times. Everyone gets their starting monument and then you're done with that. And you didn't need so much space for those. And similarly, the well and mill buildings, those are smaller, so they have a smaller design, but it's created in the exact same way as the other one. So a couple of things to be aware of. In the link to the description of this video, I'm going to have a link to where you can print off these templates from BoardGameGeek.com. Make sure you have an account. It's free. And then also I'm going to have a link for a web page that I've created where you can find more projects that I've made just like this one here. And so if you're interested in seeing vertical deck boxes that I've made, or if you're interested in seeing tile boxes like for Karuba or whatever, I'm going to have a link to my web page that I've created to share those designs with you in the description of this video. But for now, a couple of things. Oh, and I still have these buildings. That's what I'm going to be creating now. So a couple of things. The materials we're going to need is you're going to need some paper, obviously some cardstock. Cardstock is the best. And for this particular project, I found at my local Walmart this package here, and it has 6 colors, and those colors work perfectly. They also have a neon version of these colors. I don't think it has 6. It has like 4 or 5 colors, but they're like bright neon. I used a pink one for my monuments in that example. And I haven't been able to find any gray cardstock in any of the stores I've been going to. I know that it's out there somewhere. I just haven't found it. So I just used a white paper. But when you go to the link and download the PDF, there's going to be 2 pages. There's going to be the normal size and the smaller size. And I have listed, you need 6 copies of this. And for this bigger size, you're probably going to want red, green, blue, orange, yellow, and purple or black. I don't know how you print on black paper. Maybe there's a way, but I don't know how. So I'm using purple in the place of black. And so, yeah, you're going to want some cardstock, and you're going to want to print off the pages as described. As of the recording of this video, as you can see, I don't have any of the building shapes printed on here. There's a chance, I'm toying with the idea, there's a chance that I'm going to print the shapes of the buildings to go on the top and the bottom of the box, but as well as on the spines, so that when they're in the box, they'll look super cool. I haven't done that at this point. I just am trying to get this whole project off the ground. Yeah. Anyway, that was a lot of talking to say. You're going to need some cardstock, print off the images. I use a big paper cutter just for the very first cut, and then scissors and tape. When you're looking for tape, the best kind of tape I have found is any kind of transparent tape, not invisible tape. So you can see that this tape is really, really clear. If you get invisible tape, it is not so clear. It's kind of clear, but not really. So just a heads up, probably some kind of transparent tape is a good thing to do. Now, the very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to cut, using the paper cutter, just the outline of this shape. And depending on your printer, my printer, this margin was just a little too small, but it really is right there. So even though there's not a line right here, my line stops, I am going to go ahead and cut that. I have a tripod sitting right here, so cutting with this cutter on the tripod is super awkward. It doesn't work very well. So I'm going to be right back, having just trimmed out this outline shape. Okay, we are back. So once you have the excess stuff cut off, I'm going to do this in 3 steps. Step 1 is cut, step 2 is fold, and step 3 is tape. And so I'm going to do all of my cuts, I'm going to do all of my folds, and then I'm going to do my taping. So if you take a look here, I've done my best to put dotted lines on all of the places where we need to cut. And so I have a dotted line here, here, some here, and so on. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm just going to look for the dotted lines, and I'm going to go ahead and cut in those places there. I'm going to do a couple of additional cuts. Just an FYI about me is I'm a math teacher. I teach middle school math, and I have kind of been called a worksheet guru. I make lots of very pretty worksheets, and I do them all in Microsoft Word. So I don't have training really outside of any Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. I do all of my stuff on there. And so this is only made in Microsoft Word just using a table. And so I've gotten all of my different measurements. And that's the case for every single one of my box crafts that I have on that one web page that I mentioned earlier. Is they're all just made in Microsoft Word, which is great because I can get the dimensions exactly how I want them. But it's also kind of crappy because it limits me in some of the things. But anyway, yes, so we've got cuts here. We have these cuts up here. And finally here. Now this looks almost symmetrical. I mean, it is almost symmetrical. It looks symmetrical. I'm going to show you the differences here in just one quick second. Okay, next are going to be some cuts that I didn't really diagram on here just because I tried, it didn't work. All right. Oh, I was talking about symmetry. Here's why I was talking about symmetry. This side and that side look almost identical. The only difference is that these flaps here are twice as big as this one right here. This is the main box that's going to hold the buildings. This is the lid over here. So what we need to do though is, because I've done this enough times, I know that there are some folds that are going to get tricky unless I make a couple of snips here and there. So on the 4 corners, okay, so looking at the 4 corners, what we're going to want to do is cut a diagonal connecting to the top here and just going in a small diagonal. We're going to be folding over these pieces. And so just doing a really simple diagonal there will make the fold better. If you don't make those cuts, it's still possible. It's just going to be a little bit more fiddly to deal with. So I started the printed corner, and I'm just cutting at a diagonal. It does not matter how much. You just don't want it to be totally full. So when I'm done, I'll just hold that up. This is very Bob Ross style. It's not perfect. And in fact, having said that, your first couple boxes you might need to do again. That just happens this way. I've made so many of these boxes at this point that I'm pretty good at it. So I'm going to share my tips with you. Okay, now next thing is we have all of the cuts done, and we need to go ahead and make some folds. We're going to do all of the folds. Every single printed line on here needs to be folded. There are different ways to do this. What works best for me is to actually turn it blank side up, and I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I'm going to let a lot of the cuts help guide me. But the other thing that I like is that as you're pulling, you're going to be able to see the printed stuff as you're pulling it this way. And that's what I like the most. So first things first is we have these 4 side pieces. Let's just fold those inward. Again, I'm kind of letting the printing do the work, or the cuts do the work for me. So I bring that over, and then either use your fingernail or maybe the handle of your scissors to make that nice and creased. And I'll also say this with cardstock, especially with this particular design, you may want to fold it so that the printed lines are on the outside of the box, or you may want to fold it so that the printed lines are on the inside of the box. But with this cardstock, all you need is you just need one crease, and then you can fold that backwards and forward however you want to. It doesn't matter. So I still, no matter how I do this, I'm going to start on the printed side down and fold it this way, because then I can just kind of see, like, I know you can't see it, but I can just barely see the printed line as I'm folding it over. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do it like this. And I think I'm going to be making this box printed lines out, not in. Just in case in the future, maybe you've downloaded this and I've already added those icons, in which case you would want the printed side out. Anyway, all right, so we've got those 4 folds there. Now on each of those 4 things, there are 2 folds that we need to make. So I just use those cuts that we already did. We cut up to the folding line. And when doing these folds, remember, we cut a little bit up here. You don't want the top to be level, you want the bottom to be level. I don't know if any of that made sense, just barely, but it sounded really smart. Okay, so I'm going to I cut a little bit too far on that one, and it's not a big deal. I just need to be careful when I go ahead and crease it to make sure I'm creasing on that printed line. So I'm going to keep going all the way around this thing. Crease and crease. Again, I'm trying to keep the inside part level, not the outside part. Go ahead and crease that there. There it is, right there. There's a crease. And crease. Okay, so we've got all of that, and we have the creases in place, so I'm just gonna go ahead and open those back up now. Okay, next thing is we've got to fold all of these ones. Oh, and I just remembered one more cut, or 2 more cuts that I want to make. Up here, this is going to be a fold over kind of a thing. It's going to be a little bit easier both on this side and on the other side if we just cut the corners like that. Again, it does not need to be precise. Oh, in fact, I didn't do a great job on that crease. Hold on, I want to fix that crease. Pull it just a little bit more. I'm nervous on camera. Okay, and then I got to do that same thing over here. I should have done that earlier. A lot of times I forget, but I know I would have remembered when I went to go tape things together. Okay, so now we need to do all the other creases. I usually just pick a side and I start there and I just fold it over. The first one's a little awkward because the cuts aren't really helping in that case. Okay, and you're gonna see I didn't go quite to the line, and that's gonna be okay. No big deal on that cut there. But after that, all of these cuts and folds we already have, they're just gonna help us. So I'm just gonna pull this down like that, get it as close as possible, and give it a crease. And then I know that my next fold is gonna be, you can always look at it, but the cuts are helping me kind of navigate this. Go ahead and give it a fold like that. And then I've got a bunch here, so I'm just going to keep pulling. I just crease, and then I pull the paper a little bit more until I see some printing, and I crease it, and then pull a little bit more. Oh, I just knocked the tripod, sorry. I don't even know if I'm on camera right now. Probably my head's in the shot, who knows. Pull it and crease it. I'm going to do one more coming from this side. Pull it and crease it like that. Okay, now I'm to the point where I'm going to flip this around and just start on the other side. Pull it and crease it. Pull it and crease it, and I think, yes, I've got all of it. So if you wanted to do this printed side in, just change all of your creases to go the other way at this point. But I'm going to do printed side out, again, because I talked about that. So what you need to do is identify which side is the box part and which side is the lid. The box part has the longer wings. Oh, that crease could not have been worse. Wow. Or maybe do you know what? I probably accidentally creased it. It doesn't matter. It's going to be okay. It's going to be hidden. All right. So what we're going to do is identify the box part. That's the part with all 4 sides that are longer. This one has some shorter sides. That's the lid. So box. this side right here. I'm going to start at the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in like this. Okay, sorry. So I'm taking these two flaps right here, fold them in, and we're just going to wrap this on top of it like that. I'm not well versed in craft videos. I'm a board game video person. And then it's going to, oh, I did a really terrible job. It's kind of super awkward. There's a tripod here. I'm working around it. But essentially, we just folded that stuff in. Do you know what? I did such a bad job at that. I'm going to do that again. Could you see that? I got reckless with my tape. Okay. So we fold this in. And maybe it's helpful for you to, here, like maybe it's helpful. I just try to make sure the corners look good. Pinch it and throw on a little bit of tape. Okay. Maybe that'll be better. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to bring that side in, hold it closed, put on a little bit of tape. It'll make it a little bit more secure for me for later on. And then we're just going to bring this part and fold it over just so it looks like a nice finished edge. Put on some tape. There we go. I did that a little more carefully than the other one. All right, so for the box part, that's how it starts. I might go through later on and clean up and put a little bit more tape on the edges, but for now, we're good. Now, this side, naturally, I think you want to close it in like this, but don't do that. You're actually going to open these up and bring the rest of the box over like that. Okay? And then you're going to close these in like this and bring this down. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a second and show you what we did. So we basically, that long part of the box is going up and over and holding on to the other wings on the back side like that. I don't know how to say that better. Let me do it one more time just in case. Okay, so we've got our box. We've got the long wings here. I'm bringing this part down so I can bring the wings in. And then I'm folding this over it like that. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I want one piece of tape. So I'm kind of folding it back. It's almost like I'm making a W. No, is that a W? What would that shape be? But the base of the box is going up and down and up again. Maybe like an N? I don't know. That's not the most clear. I'm hoping you're figuring it out. I have no idea. This is the first time I'm doing this kind of a video. But I'm basically going to wrap it like that and throw some tape on it, and all of those parts and pieces are going to be held into place. And I have a box with a lid that kind of detaches, but not really. Okay? Here, it's going to get very simple. Now this, I've gone back and forth. I did about 5 different prototypes. The reason why I have these short pieces here is I like that they add a little bit of stability to the part of the lid that closes in over the box. So it's almost just like making that part stronger. All you're going to do is just take that small square, fold it over, and tape it down. And I'll emphasize after I finish the box why I like that. Okay, now we're just at the lid, and this is going to turn out exactly the same as we were doing before. Just bring it up, make sure your corners look good, hold it closed, throw on some tape. Okay, same thing here. Bring it over, hold it closed, throw on some tape. Okay, and then bring that lid up and over, or that it's not a lid, it's a lip. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then you just want to make sure that the crease looks nice and pretty. Oh. And again, trying to do it for the camera, but also I'm standing upright, so I gotta be careful. I'm gonna hit both sides. Just like that. Okay? And especially down here, you may want to like fold it a couple times just to make sure it's stable. And what I was talking about before is as you bring this close, I just found that these close better when you bring these squares and tape them. It just seems to close better than if they're not there, but maybe I'm absolutely making that up off the top of my head and it's not really a thing. Okay, but there you go. We've got that there. You can lay your card on top. I'm going to take my cottage buildings and dump them out like that. close it up. Now this project obviously takes time because there's a lot of boxes, but holy cow, in my brain, the payoff is worth it to be able to have all of these here together. They fit nicely. I'm going to put this like that. I even went ahead and put my cubes in some deck boxes. You could just keep them in the bag right here, but I like that this just keeps everything nice and stable and sturdy. Oh, I couldn't be more happy with this project. I love it. Again, I might change my mind and go print some things for the, like, just the shapes of the buildings. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but for now I haven't done it. But I can go ahead and close up this box, and it is going to fit perfectly. I couldn't be happier. Oh, I love it. Okay, hopefully that project was fun for you. If you'd like to see more, please click and check out that super cheap and cheesy website. Basically, anytime I'm playing a game, I'm asking myself, is there something I can make that would make the storage better? So I have about 14-ish games on there right now, and as time goes on, whenever I'm playing a game and I think of something fun, I'll add it on there. But for now, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you later. Goodbye.